This is my Singer 500A. In this tutorial, I will show you how I thread this machine. Okay, before we begin threading, the first thing you will want to do is make sure that your presser foot is up and the take-up lever is in its highest position. Okay, we'll start with the spindle. On the spindle, I have a felt, and I place it on the spindle, and this is to prevent the spool of thread from moving as you sew. I'll place the spool of thread on the spindle, right side up, not upside down, so the thread is flowing from top to bottom as you sew, flowing through the machine from top to bottom. Another option that you can use to keep the spool in place is the serger spool cap. If you have a serger, you should have several of these. And because the spool is short, this one is tall, the spool cap is going to work best with the shorter spool because it has a piece of plastic that extends from the cap and it touches the spindle. And so it's going to keep my spool in place as I sew. And another option would be a metal vertical spool holder. This one is pretty tall. One of these. You can also use this to keep your spool in place as you sew. Okay, this machine has several guides, and the first guide begins over here. You'll just take I'll zoom in a bit. Take your thread and place it through the hook. The second guide, which is your thread control guide, is this metal plate and it holds two guides. One has a hook and one has a slit. Zoom in. You'll take your thread, the first guide, just go under the hook. And the second guide, just take it through the slit. Next, you have the tension discs. You have 3 discs, center front, center back. And because you're doing we're doing single needle threading, just place it either center front or center back, doesn't matter. Next, you have the spring, which is a part of the tension assembly. You take your left hand, place the thread under the spring, and with your right hand, you'll just brace the thread that's closest to the spool, pull up on that spring. You will hear a click, and what has happened is the thread has wrapped around the finger that's a part of the tension assembly. The next guide is this bar guide. Just take your thread, put it through the guide. Next is the take-up lever. Just put your thread through the hole. I'm behind my camera, so it's a little difficult threading. The next guide is to the left of the tension assembly. And you'll just place the thread through that guide. What I'm going to do is turn off my camera because I need to reposition it. I want you to see the remaining guides, so I will be right back. Okay, this is where I left off. The next thread guide is here. So you'll bring your thread around to the right and place it through that guide. The next guide is beneath this one, just above the needle bar. You'll bring your thread to the left And the very last guide is here. It has a bar with a slit. You just take your thread between your left and right hand and place it in that slit. Making sure the thread stays in all the thread guides. Last, now it's time to thread the needle from front to back. I lowered my presser foot. I think I'll cut some of this thread off. Okay. I'm behind my camera, so it's a little difficult to thread behind your camera. Okay, got it through. Raise my presser foot, take my thread under the presser foot and behind. Making sure that the thread is in all of the guides. And that is how you thread the Singer 500A.